friends, my name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today is October the 17th and I am doing my third quarter goal review. We have 2.5 months left of the year. Can I finish my goals before the end of the year? How am I doing? So I created 10 goals at the beginning of the year. Some of them are kind of really specific goals and some of them are a little bit looser. So I'm going to quickly go over them and see how I'm doing. I am basing this information on books read up to October the 15th because that's where my reading journal is up to, and it just felt like a good halfway mark for October because really I should have done this at the end of September, but I didn't. Okay, so goal number 1 was to read 125 books. As of October the 15th, I finished my 125th book. So exactly, that works perfect. Then goal number 2 was to read my 25 in 25. So that was to complete my bingo board. As you can see, I have 1 spot remaining. So for this 25 books, my BFF picked 20 of them and then my husband picked 5. So these are all books that I either owned or were on my want to read TBR. So I was interested in them. So that's how they picked. They didn't just randomly pick whatever books they wanted to put on. It had to be on my TBR list. And as you can see, I have 1 spot remaining on here. However, that book has been read as of October the 15th. I just haven't put my sticker on because I normally do these stickers as part of my TBR for the next month, because as I complete a line, I got a reward that went towards the TBR game or something else. So I will do that when I go to film November's TBR to find out what the reward is going to be for completing the board. Then goal number 3 was the 25 rereads to do for the year. I love rereading books and I had quite the list of rereads. I don't remember how many, what number that was on my list, but I put them into a spinner wheel. I spun the wheel 25 times and whatever book it picked, it went on this list. So as of right now, I just realized, okay, this list is up to October 16th because one of these books I finished on the 16th. Okay, so I have 7 books left to read before the end of the year. And 2 of these 7 are Christmas themed books. So I was kind of waiting till November, December to read 2 of them for sure. That leaves 5 others that I could read at any time between now and then. So 7 before the end of the year should be possible as long as I focus on them. So the books I have left are Falling for You by Becky Wade, which is book 2 of the Bradford Sisters series. The Christmas Bargain by Shanna Hatfield, which is the one that I'm waiting to hold off on. And it is book 1 of the Hardman Holidays. I think that's what it's called. Then I have Heart on the Line by Karen Witemeyer. This is also a book 2 of a series, Ladies of Harper Station, I think is what the series is called. It's actually the very first book I ever read by Karen Witemeyer. I fell in love with her writing. I then went back and read book 1 because I didn't realize it was book 2. And so I do not plan on rereading book 1. I'm only going to reread book 2. Then we have Dying Declaration by Randy Singer. And I've had this book on my shelves for years. And why did I keep it? I do not remember anything about this book. So that is one of the ones that I want to reread. Then I have The Witness by Dee Henderson, which again has been on my shelves for years. It's time to reread it and find out, do I want to keep it on my shelves? Then we have The Esther Paradigm by Sarah Monzon. I read this book as an advanced reader copy when it initially came out. I now have a physical copy of it, so I want to reread it and find out, will I enjoy it as much as I did the first time around? It is a marriage and convenience story. And the last book is High Stakes Holiday Reunion by Christy Barrett. This is a love-inspired suspense book, one of the early reads by Christy Barrett that I did, and again, I was holding off until the Christmas season to read that one. Okay, goal number 4 is to make progress in 25 series. So I have 1 page, 2 pages, and half a page of all the series that I was currently in the middle of, or that I plan to start this year, or the handwritten page, like the ones kind of added on, or ones that I ended up starting this year that weren't really on my radar at the beginning of the year. Now, have I made progress in 25 series? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So 31 series I have read at least 1 book from. Out of those 31 series, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I have 17 series that I have fully completed, or I've completed it as much as I can until the next book is released. And then I have 1 series that I have decided to DNF. That is a pretty good percentage. So 17 are completed or up to date out of the 31. That's amazing. So I've met that goal. Okay. Then goal number 5 was to read 5 books that were purchased prior to 2020. I had a list of 20 books that I had purchased before 2020 that I had not read. And so my goal was to read 5 of them. I have read 5 of them as of October the 15th, because the book I finished on the 15th was my 5th book for that list, and that was Rodeo Rescuer by Lynette Eason. Goal number 6 was to read 5 authors to 0. I created a list of 11 authors that I wanted to read to 0 at some point, with all the books that I had to read yet on their list. And then more books were released. I created this back in last December, and more books were released or announced throughout the year, so then I've just handwritten them in. So out of my list of 11, I have completed Lynn H. Blackburn, Rachel Fordham, Amy Lynn Green, Danny Petrie. So that's 4 I have completed. Now I have a question. So I have Irene Hannon marked as completed as my 5th author. When I look at her book list that is inside Sunrise Reef, which is her newest release that for the contemporary romance that came out in April, a few months ago. I do not have a copy of her newest book that came out in October, Out of Time. However, I do know that's the only book that she's released since this book. And when I look at the book list that's in here, I have read every book on this list. But when I go onto her website, she has some older books that she wrote years ago, probably before she was traditionally published with Revell, is my guess. And she is in the process of re-releasing them as encore editions. I have not read all those books, so can I consider her as read to 0 because I've read this list? Or do I need to base on what is on her website? And then that same thing goes to Lynette Eason. So this is Final Approach, which was released in August. So it's her newest book. And inside this one for her book list, according to this book list, I have read all her books. However, again, on her website, she has more books because she also has books through Love Inspired Suspense. And I have not read all of those books. So, are these two authors considered read to zero based on their book list? Yes. However, knowing their website has more books. You tell me, have I read them to zero or do I need to keep working on it? The one author that I thought wouldn't be an issue to get to zero is Terry Blackstock, because I own a lot of her books. I've read a lot of her books. However, when I look inside her newest release, which is Aftermath, which came out in 2021, there's a lot of her older books and novellas listed there. And like, she's got 4 books that she published with Beverly LaHaye, for example, bunch of novellas, and I've never read those. So according to the printed book list inside her most recent book, I have not read her to zero yet. And that's kind of one I really would like to, because I own a lot of her books. But yeah. So the other authors is I'm working on Sarah Sundin. I have 1 book left, which is Midnight on the Scottish Shore. And I hope to read it very, very soon before the end of the year. So I think I will finish her before the end of the year. Then I have 2 novellas by Becky Wade. And I have 3 novellas by Karen Whittemire. Actually, I think she just released one. So I might have 4. I feel like she just had a novella come out in September. I need to double check on that. And then Liz Johnson, I have 4 on the list. I think 3 of them are novellas and 1 is a full length, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, I've completed 4 for sure. So even if I don't count one of these guys, as long as I read Sarah Sundin's book, I will have completed 5. Okay, number 7 was to participate in 5 yearly reading challenges. I will come back to this one because I want to talk about each challenge that I was looking at. Number 8 was to participate in 5 readathons. Now, this could have been a much higher number than 5 because I completed this months ago. And there's a bunch of readathons here that I participated in and not written it down. And I'm participating in one this month. And I expect to participate in one in November or December, if not one each month. We'll see. So yeah, that could have been a much higher number. Okay, then number 9 is to participate in 5 group reads. So I have done 3 book club reads with Tammy from Protagonist Pub. They were Persuasion by Jane Austen, Emily of New Moon by Ellen Montgomery, and The Road to Paradise by Karen Marnett. Then I participated in Krista's Christian read-along, where we read The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. And then for number 5, this is where I'm like, I'm not really sure what book that is going to be because I don't have a book club book or a group read that I'm really interested in. However, I have been participating in the Year of Maud, which is hosted by Chantel, where we have been reading a Lucy Maud Montgomery book every single month, or something inspired, depending. Each month had a different book pick. I have participated in every single month except for the month of June when they read The Blue Castle, because I had just read it last year. But I've done every other month, like every month other than that one. So I think really that could count for my 5th as long as I complete it. Because, I mean, there's 8 books in the Anne of Green Gables series alone. That's 8 months. Plus 2 others that we have read. So I think that'll count. So I think that goal will be complete by the end of the year. And then number 10 was to read every day. And this is also updated to the 16th. I guess I did it yesterday. Okay. So here is my tracker for I color in every day I've read. And as you can see, it is full. And then I mark when I finish a book and what number the book is for the year. And we are read. So I've read every single day. Awesome. Okay, reading challenges. So the first reading challenge that I will complete for sure is my own reading challenge. That is the Jane Reads Christian Fiction reading challenge. I just need to find it in my book. Okay, here we go. So here is my printable, and I don't have my book cover printed for my October book, but I have read it. So I have November, December left. Then I have the 2 bonus prompts. The bonus prompt number 2 is a past fave. And basically I'm holding this spot for The Heart on the Line by Karen Whittemire because that's the one I kind of want to put in there. That's going to be a past fave. That's kind of the top one. Then the last one is a TBR vet. So basically I could put any of the Christian fiction that is from that 5 purchased prior to 2020 list. So that would be Rodeo Rescuer by Lynette Eason. So this will be complete for sure. I have no doubt about it because November is to read a new to my TBR. So basically a book from my most recent book haul, which is huge. So lots of options. And December's includes a holiday. So if I read a Christmas book, I will have December's. Then I've been participating in the Go with the Flow reading challenge, which is hosted by Sarah's Nightstand and Jen at Bookish Blonde. And each prompt builds off of the book from the month before. And so I've just written the titles of what I've read. I have kept up reading 1 book per month. So I only have November and December left to read. And November's book is same number of words in the title. So October was a 2-word title. So November's book has to be a 2-word title. That shouldn't be that difficult. So I have no doubt I will complete that one. Then we have Oshina's Christian Romance Challenge. And I have 3 prompts remaining. This is another one I've been trying to do by month and basically find a book that I've read in that month that will fit one of them. Now that we're getting down to less options, it's going to be a little bit more tricky. So I have Animal on the cover, which technically Rodeo Rescuer could work because there's a bull on the cover. I do not have a lot of books with animals on the cover. And so then we have fall season. I have no idea what I'm putting in there yet. Hopefully I still read a fall book. And then the last one is Christmas. That will be filled in December, most likely. Then we have Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. And this one I was doing monthly until we got to the month of June. And then it was like none of my June books had a bird in the story, on the cover, nothing. Like I struggled with this one. So I could go and just find a book, like for example, Sunrise Reef has birds on the cover. So I could just pick a book to put in there. So I just need to do that. Then July is royalty. I have no idea. I cannot think of any books I've read that have royalty in them. And maybe I need to look at the books again, and I'm sure I've read something, but I don't know. Then October, I have read October's book. It was history. So I read When Tides Turn. I just need to print the sticker. And then November, we have food. I do not know. I cannot think of a book offhand that like has food on the cover or very obvious. So something with a baker, maybe? I feel like I just read something that had a baker in it. I'll have to look. So I got to think about that one. So if you have recommendations, give me a recommendation. And then December is Frosty. I'm sure with one of my Christmas books, there might be something frosty on the cover, something that will fit that. I don't think that'll be an issue. Okay, then the other challenge that I thought, well, I would try to fulfill and see if I could is the Buzzword Reading Challenge. And basically, these all apply to the title. So here is the graphic that I have filled in. I am not doing this by month because that was just way too difficult based on the prompts. So I printed it off, like I printed the actual graphic off, and then I've just got this sheet where I can put the book covers on. So you see I have one book cover, but that's why I'm showing you the graphic. So I have just these post-it notes with options that would fit each month, and then I've just checked as I've read them. But the one that I'm struggling with is animals. So it has to have an animal in the title. So the two options that I did write down that were on my TBR, but I do not own them, I'd have to get them from the library, is the red canary or the nature of small birds. But I'm not really sure. So if you have an animal in the title book recommendation for me, leave it in the comments below, please. Okay, then Princess Bride-a-thon, hosted by Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. I have filled it all in. This one is complete. I just, again, need to print the sticker, except for this one. And this one is a book over 500 pages. I have not read any books that are over 500 pages. I own very, very few of those. And looking at my shelves, I have 2 books that could fit. And that is this one. This is a bind up of 5 books. So this is the Golden Filly Collection number 1. So this is books 1 to 5. And I can't tell you exactly how many pages this is because, interestingly enough, when I go to the very last page of this book, it tells me it's 122 pages. I was like, wait, what? But it is page 122 in book number 5. So then when I go to book number 4, it's 130 pages. So each book is approximately 120 pages, give or take. So that makes it over 500 pages. And I say I have 2 options because I have collection number 1, and then I have collection number 2, which is books 6 to 10 for this. So I wasn't planning on reading that this year, but I have had it on my shelf for a year. I bought this October 2024. So maybe we'll see. So this is an option to fill. If I want to complete her challenge, I need to read that book. And then the other challenges that I have options for is Alma's Journey Through Time challenge, where basically I'm doing the decades one. So basically I'm trying to find books either published or set in the decades, like certain decades. So I need a book for 1980s and then 2000s and 2010 and 2020s. Now, if only this book was published 1 year prior to what it was published. So this book was the first book, not this edition, but book number 1 in this bind up was published in 1990. If it was published in 1989, I could use it for 1980s, but it's 1 year off. And I'm pretty sure 2000s or 2010 will be one of my rereads for sure. Like, I don't think that'll be an issue completing those guys. And completing 2020 will not be an issue either because I'm sure I can find a new release. So I think I will complete this one. Maybe the 1980s is the one that I'm struggling with. Then I have Amanda's annual Southern Comfort Reading Challenge. And I am keeping up with every month. Again, I am not doing this monthly. It's just as I come across a book, I fit it in. So November or October is a book set during the harvest or fall season. So if I find a fall season book for Oceanas, I could use it for here as well. Then November is a book that explores comfort. And December is a book with Christmas tradition. So again, I read a Christmas book. That won't be a problem. So I think I will complete them, but we will see. I don't know. So basically, from you, I need to know, are these authors read to zero based on their book list inside the printed book, or do I need to go off their website? I would love to know your thoughts on that. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.